Hello, and welcome to week 16. Look at that. It's the last week. You've made it. I'm very proud of you all. You've survived a 16-week anatomy online class. Online classes are not easy to begin with, and doing anatomy online is certainly not easy, but you've done it. You've made it to the end point. Now, this is a full week. EVC does not have a finals week, so we do have stuff Monday, Tuesday, and then the Wednesday, Thursday. For the difficult structures last week, there was a lot of people worried that they were going to confuse the corpus spongosum with the corpus cavernosum. And if it makes you feel better, I almost just said colossum there. So look at my comments on the announcement for figuring those out. The cavernosum is superior, the spongosum is inferior and surrounds the urethra. For the structure you actually found difficult, it was finding the ejaculatory duct and finding the For the structure you guys actually found difficult, it was more finding the bulbourethral gland and finding the ejaculatory duct. Great news, they're not on the study guide. And most of you just commented that the female pelvis was just complicated with everything being in there. And then for the discussion, it's official, you all hate the nephron. The nephron is going to be your first question on the exam, so I suggest go online, get some diagrams and simple diagrams of just the nephron stretched out, and practice labeling what the structures are, then a one-sentence summary of what happens there. Remember, I cannot make the test overly complicated. So, like the previous 15 weeks, we are going to have Monday, Tuesday. That will be development. And then we will have Thursday, Friday, or Wednesday, Thursday. That will be our test. So, the development lecture. This lecture is not on our exam at the end of the week. Instead, there is an online activity. You have 35 minutes for 20 questions. You can take it as many times as possible. It goes into the assignment category. Focus on formation of sex cells. That's oogenesis. It's actually oogenesis. It's spermatogenesis. Mitosis versus meiosis. Generally, what happens in pre-embryonic development, lots of cool structures there. Embryological development and fetal development. I am going to rush through this. This is about 38 weeks right here. I'm covering it in about 6 slides. So a lot of detail here, not so much here. So again, pay attention. I really care about meiosis. We're going to do a meiosis activity. It's complicated. You're going to get it again. We need to understand it. Then we are going to contrast spermatogenesis and oogenesis again. We will see it again. And feel free to call this oogenesis. That's what my developmental biology teacher called it. I like that name better. Darn learning the proper Latin word. Then we're going to talk about some cool structures. Zygotes, morellas, blastulas, a lot of vocabulary words. These are actually the last page of the lab book. So you might want to do that before the quiz. The online activity. It's not a quiz. And then we're going to look at fetal development. We're going to talk about the notochord. We're going to talk about the layers, germ layers, which are important. Then we'll talk about fetal and embryological development. It's like a 7-minute long video. So again, more stress on the earlier parts than this. And you have an online assessment. There's a study guide. It's a Word document. The follow-up, 35 minutes. This is not a quiz. It's not the exact same thing as the quiz I've given in the past semesters with double the time or anything. And I mentioned the last page of the development lab, right? So that is the development lecture. Now that link for the study guide doesn't work. It's right here. Our lab is on development. Part 1 is histology. It is not to spite you. I'm going to go over the ovarian follicles. In no way is this a review of the follicles from last lab. And we're going to draw the secondary follicle right here. Isn't that a beautiful follicle? Then we are going to look at the embryoblast. This is the early embryo. This is going to be the digestive system in here. Remember, we developed from the rectum first. The notochord is going to be hiding right there. This is going to be the central nervous system right there. So we're going to learn some really cool structures on here as well. And hopefully these histology slides do not look like every single other histology slide. We're then going to do a meiosis activity. Watch my video. follow the steps on the handout, read this webpage, follow the steps on the handout, and basically you're going to see what happens. I want you to visualize how genes get rearranged in this activity. That is my goal. So this next part is follicular stages. Watch my video on follicular stages. Go to this webpage and you are going to find them on the ovarian moderator. Go to this one. You are going to identify them. I put this in really because people had trouble on the test last year. So I figured, why not repeat it again? And in your actual comments on the discussion, people were saying they had trouble with that too. So screenshot your answers. Next part, developmental models. These are just cool models. It'll help strengthen stuff for the online assessment. So go to this webpage, drag and drop. Yes, we're revisiting that code. I had to find it again. Go to this page, rotate it, screenshot, label it. I just think this is an awesome, cool model. I actually made a trip to campus just to pick up that model. Then we're going to look at the uterus model. In no way am I reviewing stuff from the reproductive lab. I would never dream of doing that. So we have the rotating model, we have the mouse over model. These reproductive models actually have an occupant in them. So on the test, I'll give you the unoccupied one. And again, this is just upload. This material is not necessarily on your lab quiz at the end of this week. The follicle stages are because we did them last week, and the uterus is because we did it last week. Then the second half of the week, we have our tests. Lecture exam 4, 100 questions, due Friday, 11:59 p.m. Lab quiz 4, the digestive system. Again, you got salivary glands last week, so the salivary glands are not on there. Urinary and reproductive systems, there's 22 questions instead of 20. So development is not on here unless it was mentioned also in the reproductive system. Notice there's no possible essay. My essay question was going to be describe a system you feel really comfortable about, describe its structures, but I felt that it was a repeat of the discussion, which is, what did you learn? So what was the most important thing you learned? What was the coolest thing? I think one person put that we developed from the rectum to the mouth for the other class. What is the most challenging thing? It is not a critique of the class. What was hard for you personally? And what was the easiest thing to learn? One primary post, 150 words. Again, this is not a critique of the class. Keep it positive. I say that because the first time I taught this online and had the same topic, the person decided to make a 5-page critique of the class instead, and the student had an A and a perfect score, which was very confusing why they did that. So, that is our last week. You guys did awesome. It was nice having you all. I will have my regular office hours this week, and good luck. Have a good break. Your homework for next week is, following week 16, your homework for week 17 is sleep. You guys deserve it. Have a good day.